Are we live?
I think so. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. What if we just started like another Ryan's Toys Reviews kind of thing?
Could be like
Oh, I woke him up. Uh-oh. I'm sorry.
Your apologies not accepted. But yeah, I think we could just start reviewing sex toys. I mean,
Oh hell yeah.
one thing is that Mike and I feel like you and I could just swap butt plugs back and forth.
We could compare sizes.
You could lube up the butt plug with your own like rear juices and then just slip it in mine because I feel like yours has had more experience than mine.
I mean, it's only awkward if we make it awkward.
What the fuck do you have it coming out your ass?
Look, Melanie, if you're gonna talk, you gotta put the microphone in your face. I can't believe I'm actually asking you to talk into like an apparatus that accentuates your lovely voice.
What the fuck kind of juices are coming out your bum?
Blood, mostly.
Jesus, I want to get that joke. Is that beet juice?
Well, while we digress on that, welcome aboard, everybody. This is the inaugural episode of the Talk the Plank podcast.
Just
What?
1 second.
What, Mike?
On the blood coming out of the butt. So, the other day, we had beet greens, and I totally forgot about it. So I'm taking a shit the other day. I get up, I'm like, holy crap, there's so much red. I did a little extra wipe just to see, and I'm like, the fuck is this coming from? And I'm like, what? I'm looking down the toilet, I'm like, the beets.
No, man. You should have let that go on even longer. Can you imagine if you just like scooped it out of the toilet and you're in such a panic? You run into outpatients with like this Ziploc baggie with a red turd inside of it. Just screaming for help, and you're just sitting in the outpatient's waiting room.
They're doing tests and they're like, yeah, this is beet.
Did you eat too much of something?
I ate 3 pieces of beets.
Can't beat
And
that.
they made
Yeah, but so we've been absent for a little while now because for all like 5 people that watched, we were kind of uploading content on a pretty consistent schedule. But that was until a few things happened in the world. I didn't quite know what it was, but there were a few events that kind of changed the way the world functioned. I think it was 9/11.
Oh yeah, man.
Might have been 9/11. But yeah, so essentially what we started off doing was maybe a little too audacious for our own good because, well, when we're doing things like that, because predominantly I wanted to do sketches. Sketches was going to be like a quite a big part of what I wanted to do because back when I was a lad, we used to watch things like FND. Do you guys remember FND TV?
I have no idea what that is.
No.
Okay, they would do like sketches and stuff, and John LaJoie was definitely also a huge inspiration. John LaJoie, that's kind of like what defined early YouTube for me. So I kind of wanted that to be the channel's paradigm was let's do sketches, let's riff on society. And the pandemic kind of provided an excellent outlet to start doing that because, well, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? I mean, I can't sit in the shower and masturbate and cry all day. I do, but it's not productive to being an adult, I guess. Could have told me different, but
Sounds good to me.
that's what I thought. I mean, maybe we could go upstairs and do it afterwards. We'll all cuddle in the shower except Melanie because
Yeah, I don't want to go.
who wants to see women naked.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
So initially it started off with just Aaron and myself kind of writing sketches and using the no money that we had. I basically just had one camera. I had one microphone on the camera. It was just a cheap camcorder. And that's kind of what we went out and started doing. Was just I was writing some sketches and then we would do our best to try to perform them. But the reason we stopped was, well, we got COVID. That put us out of commission for a while. And long COVID, I'd say, is probably what we were... is probably what we were dealing with because the brain fog that we endured from that bout of COVID was indomitable. The brain fog, I don't know if you guys experienced the same thing, but the brain fog from COVID is the worst part of COVID. And it's a part of COVID that I don't think a lot of people explain. I don't think it's a lot of people fully understand.
When you put something down, and 2 seconds later, like, where did I put that? And you're looking around, it's just like, your brain doesn't... It can't comprehend what you're seeing. And it's just like, it's sitting right here. It's just like, looking around, where did I put my keys? Or where did I put my hammer? Or where did I put... I don't know. Anything, my wallet. I walked around for 20 minutes the other day looking for my wallet. It was sitting right on the dresser.
And really, the only constant that I can think of that triggered the brain fog is COVID.
Yeah.
Because I've never felt the same since then.
Okay.
And I've never really been able to articulate or kind of understand.
Yeah. The articulation's my biggest issue. It's just like, I'll get something in my head, try to say it, and it's like, what word am I trying to think of? And it's just like,
I've always been stupid, so
Yeah, see, I can
nothing
attest.
changed.
I can attest to that. The mental retardation has been pretty consistent in regards to Melanie.
There's no
turd
difference.
multiple times.
There's
No
like
difference.
there's like a multiplicity of retardation at inside of her skull.
It's like shingle upon shingle upon shingle with just like multiple layers of terror.
Melanie's a tard sandwich. I'm sorry, Melanie. It's okay. We're all a little bit stunted.
Oh, you're something. I don't know if stunted's the right word, but
Mentally and physically.
We're literally. I feel like we have polio, but we don't. And
God, I
that,
wish I could just stick you in an iron lung and walk away.
that'd be great. You could just lay there all day. You have an excuse for being a lazy piece of shit. It's like, why didn't you go to work today? I'm in an iron lung.
I'm looking at the
yeah, and then
ceiling.
we could just use our brain fog
But-
to forget that you're
But
there.
but you see, we can denigrate the people in the iron lung all we want.
The one person in the iron lung.
Yeah, but did you know he's a fucking lawyer?
Yeah, he sure
Alright.
is.
He's a lawyer. The guy's inside of a fucking iron sub all day. Basically, he's basically like a submarine on land, and he's
to the
accomplished
Titanic.
more in the prone position, staring at the ceiling, writing with his mouth, than any of us have.
Yeah.
And our 27
Yeah.
27 to 30,
34.
34 to 30. He's accomplished more than all of us with a pencil in his mouth inside of a giant piece of metal.
Yeah, he's cool.
Basically,
Doesn't mean I'm not going to make fun of it.
we're going to make fun of him because we're jealous, and that's what you
Yeah.
do when you're jealous of
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
You make fun of them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we stopped because of COVID, and like I said, it was a little too audacious for our own good. But then Aaron also decided to deposit his erectoplasm inside of a lady, and which is gross. It's a bad idea. I don't really recommend it. And well, he has a kid. Yeah, he actually has 2 kids, so he's kind of a family man. So I couldn't really take Aaron away from that as much as I'd like to. I tried to convince him to sell his kids on the black market. He wouldn't do it for some reason. He asked me, he's being kind of selfish. So he's stuck with the kids, which is why he's not here today. So we do plan on trying to get him back at some point once he finds appropriate housing.
I mean, it's never too late to just put them in a basket and put them on somebody's doorstep.
Oh, you see, I got a
Ring the doorbell, run.
dog cage.
Ding dong ditch somebody with your
Yeah.
Just
Ditch
leave the kid there.
with a note.
It's yours now.
Back in 7 hours.
Oh, there's things that I want to say that I can't because they're personal. But man, that's
Did you get ding dong
Were
ditched?
that's
you-
more
were you
relevant.
Ditched.
That's more relevant than you think. I'll leave it at that.
Did you get left on somebody's
Right, if I found you
doorstep?
on my doorstep in a basket,
What would you do to me?
Fucking throw
Me
you
showing
out.
up?
probably pick you up and take you to the neighbors.
I think say pick me up and shake me, or
If you're in a little basket, I'm gonna just set you in the river and let you float away.
set me on fire like a Viking funeral. Put you on the river, light me on fire, just ship me down
It'll be like a
fucking
fairy
Tusket
tale.
River.
It'll be like a fairy tale, except I don't have to deal with any of it.
This is why you need to find friends like this, because you feel so loved.
Yeah.
You feel so wanted. Yeah, and aside from that, it was also just scheduling conflicts because we could never align our schedules, and even that's something that we're gonna have to try to combat now. Because at the time, I was predominantly working schedule. I was working a casual schedule, so I never knew when the hell I was gonna work, and I worked every weekend on top of that. So I didn't have the time that I would have liked to dedicate to doing those sketches. And I do have several of them written. I have there's a lawyer sketch that I have written that I hope to do at some point.
Do you go in the iron lung?
That would be a good sketch to do.
Just facing the opposite way.
Oh my
You're just
God.
always looking at the floor.
That's a good idea. What if we had to try to mimic us spending one day in the iron lung?
That's just me taking a nap for the whole day.
At least you'll have an excuse to take a nap.
So we gotta drop French fries in my mouth so I can eat. But
No way, man. She's gonna be in there. I'm just gonna fart right on her nose all
kill
day.
you. You're gonna watch me rip an iron
Oh,
lung apart.
you need some help breathing there, darling. Let me shoot some of my bum breath right down your throat, eh? Eh?
You're gonna watch a miracle happen when I rip an iron lung in half.
Just Hulk smashes out.
Well, it's like we have a plethora of ideas that we want to do, but the problem is that we've never had the creative impetus to kind of give us that push, and that's part of the reason why we're starting the podcast. So I feel like starting a podcast, it's an excellent conduit into leading us into doing those endeavors that we have written down on our phones and papers, just hundreds of ideas that we haven't been able to work on. But we're hoping to change that. We have a lot of ideas and a lot of hope for the podcast. So basically, why are we starting a podcast? Well, a bunch of cisgendered white people sitting in a basement, I guess, is in vogue right now.
I have a status card, thank you.
Actually, yeah, Mike, you forgot the status card.
I brought mine.
those again. Oh, you brought yours? You've got one too?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think
It's in my bag.
Do you even know what he's talking about? What do you think he's talking about?
Yeah, what do you think? Wait, what are you? Are we not talking about
I
the same
think you
thing?
guys are on two different.
Well, I said that I have a status card because you called me cis white. Both of those are wrong.
You don't tell me I'm wrong. I tell you you're wrong.
I'm incredibly gay.
Like, can you quantify your gayness?
No.
So you can't put a number to it?
No.
You wouldn't say
Are you like?
Oh, 69.
Are you like?
Oh, gee.
Hey, or are you like? Hey.
When I go to the restaurant with my boyfriend, we both look at the waiter's boobs. And then I'm the one who says, she has nice tits, because he's too scared to
So-
say that to me.
How does it
Waiter's
feel to be the
hey,
one?
Hey, what's up?
How does it feel to be a woman objectifying another woman?
Pretty good. Women are stupid and I don't respect them. Anyway, by status card, I mean I have like an Indian status card. They're native.
Okay.
You call them
Native.
So we basically have the same kind of card.
I have a I
I'm
have
from the Middle East. My Indian status
yeah.
card.
Enjoy your Indian status card. Yeah,
Native. Sorry.
you're gonna insult the way that
I grew up in a different time.
I question the authenticity of your status card, and you proceed to call them Indians.
I didn't mean to. I'll grab my bag after and I'll show you. Gets me into places for free, like the museum.
Nice. That's always a plus.
Wow, really? You do that? You
Yeah.
actually pull that? I don't know. I
Bitch,
feel
do you know how expensive it is to get to the Human Rights Museum in Manitoba? It's like $18 to go in.
cares about human rights.
It's built like a big swan.
What is?
The building!
What the fuck?
Also, I got to go see trains in Alberta for free because I pulled
Is
out
that
my
like a
card.
spin-off of Cars?
Yeah.
Disney's Trains?
Yeah. My favorite porno is Cars, by the way.
There's a porno of Cars?
No, but I wish there was. I mean, there might be.
I mean, we can make one.
Yeah.
Just
I
slamming
want to be
two...
Peter.
I've got a card. You've got a
I
card.
want to be Tom.
Mater. It's like Tom, but just Mater.
Yeah, so
See, we basically have the same card.
Yeah.
wait,
I'll show you the.
Why were you confused?
I'll show you the card next time I'm here.
wait, what's Owen Wilson's catchphrase in Cars?
Wow.
Ka-chow.
Cha-chow.
Yeah, I'll scream that right when I'm about to climax.
I was about to say that. I was about to say- That's the only thing you should say during sex.
I feel like that would get me laid all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
If I just walked into a bar and I just, winked at a woman, ka-chow.
I don't care what the
You
guy
sold
looks
me.
like. If a man walks up to me in a bar and says "ka-chow" at me, I'm going home with him.
Oh,
I don't care what he looks like.
doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. You guys connected on a soul level,
Yeah.
and that's a soul bond transcends the physical proclivities that you see in another
would you
person.
respond to him though, or would you just be like,
We're leaving.
We're going
We
right
have
now.
to go.
I want you to just dip it in me like a Dunkaroo.
"Dick puke a baby into me"?
Dick puke.
Ew. Who calls it that?
People who don't get
And
laid.
we'll name him. And we'll name our
Michael.
baby Ka-chow.
Yeah. My
I mean,
child's
if
name
a
is
guy,
Lightning McQueen.
does anyone know if this was just a hoax or not about the guy who named his kid fidget spinner? Was that real?
I feel that I never looked into it, and I only ever heard about it briefly. But God, that sounds plausible.
It wouldn't be the stupidest thing that I've heard.
No, because I've heard of some pretty
As long as
insane
it's in
baby
all
names.
letters, there's no way they can deny the person.
As long as it's in letters.
Yeah, because you can't name your kid with numbers.
Is that the one prerequisite? Is you got to have a kid with letters in their
Yeah.
name? Because I feel like someone's gonna try to name their kid like
There
the
was
symbols
a
from that Led
person
Zeppelin album.
in Europe who they named their, or I think they had to go to Europe for it. I don't remember, but somebody tried to name their kid with a bunch of like random numbers and letters, and they had to go to a different country because they weren't allowed. You're not allowed to put like straight up numbers in your kid's name.
So you're so steadfast.
Elon
In
Musk
naming-
tried to do it, and they had to change parts of the kid's name because they weren't allowed.
Because Elon Musk has Asperger's.
He's got something.
If you can't name your kid, like, you don't need to name your kid, obviously, like, ubiquitous names, like, stupid names like Ryan.
I was about to say
Who
Ryan.
names their kid Ryan? That'd be just silly nowadays. But I understand wanting to add a bit of flair to your kids' names, but I'm kind of drawing a blank right now out of just kids' names that I've heard that, honestly, it makes me facepalm.
Well, I worked in a-
Absidy.
I worked in pediatrics. I can give you a couple of examples.
All right, well, let's hear some.
Somebody named their kid Danger.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Somebody's kid's middle name was Weed.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that kid? The kid's gonna be like, I don't know. We'll say he's 19 years old, and he brings a chick home from the. Was it a guy?
Which one?
Danger.
Actually, both were male.
Okay. Can you imagine just like putting your fingers in his butt and being like, I'm in danger?
Oh God.
Danger,
about
weed,
that. This kid was like
Dogecoin.
2. I don't want to think about that.
I'm pretty like I that kind of frustrates me. I'm drawing a blank right now because I kind of have to take these prolonged absences from the internet because the internet is just, it's not healthy. And honestly, like, as I segue back into what we were talking about, why are we starting a podcast? Well, I
We're
believe,
healthy, and we should be on the internet.
yeah, exactly. Just
We
like,
should be part of this problem.
let's contribute.
I
Instead
would
of
like
just
to be a
consuming,
problem.
let's contribute.
Let's add to the pollution that is
Yeah.
social media. So
Can't be enjoying
we have the tendency to get into kind of these back and forth, especially over Discord, where we kind of see a news topic or we'd see something happen, or we just get into just philosophical debates in general and just kind of explore our ideologies. And I've never been one to really indulge myself with social media. It's just something I've never really been able to get into. I did make a concerted effort one time to actually start commenting on things and start reading through Twitter, start reading through Facebook more, and try to. Oh, I don't know. I just thought, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just too introverted because I'm typically quite reticent with my opinions and stuff. I don't like to express my opinions unless I'm around the right people, because if I express an opinion that is not congruent with their opinion, I want that to lead. What the fuck are you snickering at?
It's just I'm waiting for the build up. Keep going.
Oh.
Keep going.
So if I'm talking to someone whose opinions are congruent with my opinions, I want that to lead to just discourse between the two, because you can't learn from somebody who you agree with. And when I was trying to just kind of dip my toes in the water of going on social media, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, I realized my mental health started to decline quite rapidly, because Twitter is such a indignant...
It's called X.
Sorry, X.
Wait, what?
But yeah, they changed the name of Twitter to X, so now it just looks like I have a porn app on my phone. And it looks like it. It looks like a porn app. So it sits right next to Bang Bros on my phone.
Nice.
But X, sorry,
X.
is just such a... It's just a self-righteous, indignant microcosm of pessimism, and it's so pernicious to your soul that I couldn't do it anymore. But at the same time, I still wanted to find a way to express my opinions. So Mike and I and Aaron, we every once in a while would get into these debates or just discussions on Discord. So we're like, why don't we just start a podcast? Why don't we start exploring these ideas into a just flesh them out more, explore them deeper, and see what they have to offer.
While trying to pull me out of like an existential crisis while discussing these, because like
Exactly,
my
yeah.
mind goes to some pretty dark places
But
sometimes.
at the same time, I feel like we need to explore that darkness.
Oh yeah,
Because
I want you guys to join to experience what goes on up here.
and I'm not sure.
I don't know if you want to join.
What a
What's up
good
here?
time to mention that I'm scared of the dark.
It's like pitch black in here.
There's just no...
And that's the thing. I'd like to combat the nihilism that currently pervades us, because I feel like the more we interact with these things, the more we get outside of our head, because we have the tendency to live in our own head so often, and we just let these negative thoughts kind of bounce around inside of our heads without expressing them or talking about them.
But it's also like going back to like Facebook and stuff like that and interactions. It's just the last interact. No, I've only used Facebook maybe twice in the past year. Marketplace, and I just posted like reno photos from the job that I've been working on. Mm-hmm. But before that, like any interactions, it just seemed like you'd say something that would seem morally just or like just rational, and it's just like you're getting shit on by everyone. And it's just like,
And
dude, why? Like, I have to explain to myself, like explain myself to like 5 or 6 people or however many people are taking offense to whatever is said, and it's just like 4 paragraphs down, we finally hit a common ground where they're like, oh, this is what you meant. It's like, yeah, if you would have read what I put, we wouldn't have had this discussion like this. Like, you came at me with pitchforks and shit, and it's just like, all right, I'm done.
I don't try. I used to, and sometimes if I get really heated about something,
Yeah.
I'll talk about it. But mostly I don't try because I don't have the energy to deal with it, because I know that somebody's gonna get upset.
Yeah.
and that's what I mean.
And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to deal with this.
That's why I avoid Twitter. X. My bad.
Idiot.
I avoid X and Facebook for the most part now.
I
It's just
look-
like I can't, like, reading through comments of like anything. It's just there's always people who are just like,
The only time
take
I will go
offense.
on Twitter is because, like, if there's a drama that I'm, like, interested in, I'll go there to see what people are talking about. I won't talk about anything, though. Like, I won't comment on anything. Because I've had to learn recently that the average intelligence is so low. The bar is on the floor. And listen, I think I'm dumb. Alright? But boy, I'm centimeters off the floor. And they are in the ground.
Yeah, I agree.
That reminds me of just like the do it yourself videos now. Like they're all over my YouTube feed and stuff like that, and I'm just like watching them. It's like you see all the comments. They're like, "Oh, you're doing great work. You're just like looks amazing," but you're looking at the product and you're like, "What the like this person doesn't know what the fuck they're doing."
Or like Kevin, who doesn't think the Jews are real.
There's very few communities that I see that actually have cultivated an environment that's predicated on positivity. But if there's any community that just pops into my head, it's the ASMR community. Because I know Mike doesn't like ASMR unless it's like balls slapping off asses.
Oh,
but
that's good.
This is like close to ASMR enough that I'm uncomfortable wearing these headphones.
I find that when I'm speaking through the headphones and the microphone, and it almost helps me express my thoughts and stuff better than when I'm just speaking absent of these.
So you're kind of hearing yourself.
Yeah, and it's
more clearly.
And the more I hear myself, the more I realize why my parents hated me. Like, yeah. Oh, oof.
Word.
Oh, soul.
I mean,
Ow.
they named you Ryan. So.
Yeah, they did. Do you know what Ryan stands for?
Tell us.
Little King.
Really?
Yeah, it does. I thought you were going to say little bitch. That's what I was waiting for. That's why I kind of left that silence. I was like, she's going to say it.
Melanie stands for dark.
Really?
I don't know what I stand for. Nothing.
Michael's like kind of a biblical.
Yeah.
Probably something.
Michael's an archangel.
Yeah, you're probably looking at something like that. Loser.
That's better.
I also told Ryan that if I ever had a son and he was just so horribly messed up and disfigured, I was going to name it Ryan.
Yeah, it'd be like one of those thalidomide babies from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
You know, my dad is actually kind of a thalidomide baby.
Oh, it makes so much sense.
His toes are fused together, so it just looks like he has a foot fist.
Really?
He has a big toe, and then the rest of them is just like this mess.
I want to know what that looks like.
He gets that a lot, but he's kind of sensitive about it.
If I ever find
Aw.
a baby on my doorstep, and its name is Ryan and it has that issue, totally taking care of it. And I'll know exactly who it came from.
I'll be like that
I
thing.
know who your parents are.
I'll be like that thing from Basket Case. Just this fucking disfigured little thing that hides in like a picnic basket. But yeah, I just find that a lot of discourse involving potentially contentious subjects is absent now, and I believe, especially in the contemporary times anyway, with the government imposing Bill C-11 and C-18, expressing what we have to say is now more paramount than ever. I mean, basically.
What are those bills?
Okay, so
I don't pay attention to
put
this.
it-
Definitely not $20 bills
Yeah.
or $10 bills.
No, he's our prime minister's too busy divvying those out probably to his wife because she probably took half of everything. So, but so basically, Bill C-11, to put it in its most rudimentary forms, and I apologize to anybody if I get this information incorrect. That grants the government the ability to essentially control what you see. And, you know, they don't word it like that. Basically, they word it under the guise of, we're doing this to push Canadian-created content. But, and you know, some people will be like, oh, that's great. Canadians are going to be whatever. But no, most Canadian creators adamantly oppose this.
Yeah.
Because this is antithetical to growth. This is not going to grow Canadians' channels or businesses. And the government flat out ignored them. So basically, whatever the government wants you to see, they can make you see it. Or not see it. And there's already been allegations of videos that may be critical of Trudeau that have disappeared from the web. And that's something, but before people start, accusing me of being conservative, I am not partisan to one political party or the other, nor do I really care too much about politics. But it wasn't until recently, until they started imposing these bills, that I'm like, okay, something has to change, because this is starting to get a little scary. And Bill C-18 makes it so you can't share news on social media anymore. You can't. Well, like Facebook, Instagram, Google, I think. I can't remember what exactly Google's role is that they're going to play, but I don't think you can find Canadian news in Google anymore.
Is that part of the... Okay, so that's part of the bill?
Yes.
Okay, because I thought that was a retaliatory action, like, imposed by, like, Facebook and Google. Because, like,
That's what I thought.
my brother kind of explained it to me the other day. He mentioned, because I kind of chimed up, I'm like, yeah, we're kind of going more towards, like, China in terms of, like,
I don't
how we're
understand
trying
how
to, like, control society.
Nobody thought this
but-
was, like, it was gonna happen
The thing is,
eventually.
nobody wanted this.
Yeah.
Nobody who's a Canadian citizen wanted this.
No, but it was gonna happen eventually. Like,
So is it not to tax? Because, like, I was kind of made to understand it as, like, it's a way for, like, states-based media platforms like Google and Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that to be taxed on showing, like, articles from Canada.
that's what I thought it was. I thought that it was just that they were going to have to, like, pay.
Yeah.
And they didn't want
if
to.
they want to,
and-
if they want to use content,
and they
Canadian
didn't want to
content,
do
yeah.
it, so that's
and,
why
like,
they took it off of those platforms.
I think they also wanted a cut of whatever, every time someone clicked on a link from
Yeah.
Google,
Yeah.
they'd have to pay a like a royalty in a way. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but they'd have to pay
A tax.
tax. Yeah, that's a much better way of putting it. Thank you. They'd have to pay a tax on that click.
Yeah.
So I have no idea why they were doing that. So basically, when people would share stuff to Facebook, if someone clicked on it, Facebook would have to pay a tax to CTV News, for example.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
They're basically taking all the profit from that click, but now...
Not necessarily, because think of all the ad revenue that these news agencies were incurring.
Oh,
I mean, let's be real. No one really watches television anymore. No one watches legacy media for the most part anymore, unless, you're antiquated. No one cares, because why? I don't pay attention to legacy media because it's partisan, it's bias, and the thing is, it's kind of an internal debate I get with myself. No matter what news you're in pursuit of, it's going to be biased to an extent. So basically, what the average citizen should be doing is exploring every news source they can.
Yeah.
But that, at the same time, is time consuming. And what do people not like being? People don't like being wrong. They don't like feeling like their opinion is getting called into question. So people won't do that. People are going to search out the stuff that they agree with. And that, to me, is also just further proliferating the negativity and the absence of discourse that currently permeates society.
You ever watch the compilation videos of, like, hot words? And it'll show,
Hot
like...
words?
Yeah, or what, I'm not sure what they call them. Like, it's just... They'll... So, say if they're talking about, like, global warming or something like that, each news agency will start off their story the exact same way. And use, like, key phrases. That's kind of what I was getting at. Buzzwords, yes. And, like, if you look at all these news agencies, like, back to back, or at the same time, you're basically watching the same show.
Well, you have to
Like, it's fucked.
That's the thing. Everything moves so fast now that you have to start everything in an attention-grabbing way. Or people will just be like, well, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So you have to start. They have to start the same way because otherwise people will be like, well, I'm leaving because you aren't interesting,
Yeah.
even though it could get interesting like a minute in.
Yeah.
But we're not going to wait a minute.
I just can't believe that it's like buzzword. People are drawn in by a buzzword.
Yeah.
And then it's basically like you're regurgitating the same bullshit
Yeah.
that 70 other news agencies have regurgitated already.
Just
But
pick your favorite
we're
news.
more special.
Pick your favorite news agency.
Oh, I can't stand, like, I walk in, my parents are watching their preferred news conglomerate, and then you go to someone else's house, they're watching their preferred news conglomerate, and they're, what do they both have in common? Well, they're shit-talking the other news
Yeah.
conglomerate, that this person over here is spouting hate speech, this person over here is a Nazi, and I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here for a second, because nothing twists my piss pipe more than someone calling somebody a fucking Nazi for an opinion that you disagree with, because that is such a reductive way to shut somebody up and to throw a word at them about the worst type of person in history. People who literally, I had a Holocaust survivor come speak to us when I was in middle school, and he told a story of a German soldier when they arrived at, I think it was Auschwitz he was sent to, grabbed a baby out of a woman's arms and slammed it on the cement in front of everybody. That's a Nazi. Not someone who's like, okay, fucking Tucker Carlson, I don't know. Tucker Carlson says some dumb shit, I'm sure of, but so does everybody else on every other news platform. I don't agree with half the stuff people say. I listen to people I don't agree with. Sometimes the people that I don't agree with say things I do agree with, and then that way you kind of formulate their own opinions. But the whole throwing the word Nazi at people if they misspeak and they act like they're this bastion of virtue just fucking shreds my asshole.
Or any other like
Shreds it like gas station toilet paper.
or any other like classification of just like calling someone a racist or not a masochist, misogynist or something like that, and it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no.
It's like, well, people will overuse words.
Yeah,
They find a word
yeah.
and then they overuse
Yes,
it.
yeah.
And then it kind of loses its meaning.
Yeah.
We all know what the Nazis were. And there are neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what they are. But I wouldn't say somebody who just has a more, we'll say, conservative opinion. I don't think that necessarily makes them a Nazi. I mean,
Essentially what, and all this that we're talking about, it all kind of ropes in as to why we're starting a podcast. Because I hope to eventually speak to people down the road that I might not necessarily agree with. And, kind of help formulate our own opinions and such. But the current climate of things doesn't provide a progressive way of doing that. And more people are being shut down and more opinions are being silenced. And if people don't agree with what we have to say, that's fine. That's cool. If you can express it to us why you might not agree with our opinion in a constructive way, great. If not, then honestly, I don't really care. If you're incapable of...
You have the freedom to either watch us or don't.
Precisely. I mean,
Agree with us or don't agree with us, or
let's be real. We're just a couple of nobodies sitting in a basement right now recording a podcast. But hey, to me, this is far more constructive than engaging in social media.
yeah.
damn, I really gave up big city life to come sit in some man's basement.
Yeah, and don't think you're leaving either. So, another reason we chose the podcast format to start off with, because I know the ubiquity of podcasts is kind of maybe getting a little overwhelming for people, and I don't really expect everyone to tune into everything that we're going to do and everything, but it's, I feel like we're just getting dumber, is the best way to put it, and I feel like this is what we need to kind of get out of our heads, get out of engaging in social media and all that stuff, and just kind of put our words out there in a verbal format.
We'll all be wearing Crocs and watching balls about a year or two.
And the flexibility of a podcast too, because this will provide us a lot of opportunity to try different things, cover different topics. We like talking philosophy, we like talking contemporary news. I think we're going to try to stay away from American news unless it's really something.
I'm sick of listening about America.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care about American news that much.
I mean, nobody except for Americans do.
Nobody in Canada talks about Canadian news. That's the fucking problem right now, is people care more about what's going on south of us than what's going on right now. And right now, some sketchy shit's happening, and I don't think people should remain... I don't think people should be complacent about it.
But new aliens just dropped.
Yeah, see, it's bad. It's not good when fucking there's aliens and people are like, yeah, whatever. That's
Yes,
whatever.
that's so 2014.
Yeah, like when people were talking about Naruto running to that fucking
God,
to
you still
Area
can't say it
51.
right.
What Naruto?
Naruto.
Naruto?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not a
You
weeb.
just say it really funny and it bothers me.
Naruto?
Yeah. No, you
God.
said
Yeah.
it different than that.
Gotta go spaghetti arms, but behind you.
How did I say it?
The way you... No, I don't like the way you said it.
How did I say it?
God, I can't...
Naruto?
No, you're never gonna get it again now.
Naruto?
But that's a good
Naruto? I don't know.
Naruto.
My niece is obsessed with Naruto.
It's a neurotic character, Naruto.
Neurotic. Yeah, they were gonna charge Area 51. That was a big thing years ago, and now there's aliens, and people are just so.
Nobody cares.
People are just so.
The probability of aliens being real is so high.
Oops, sorry.
Like, if you think about the probability of things happening, like, we're here. We just, depending on your beliefs, we were either made by a big man in the sky, or we just, over time, evolved.
I believe Tom Cruise.
Okay, well, you can leave. The probability of, like, another species also having that happen, it's totally possible.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know why everybody's like, aliens aren't real.
The only thing that I can say about, like, now is that we're, like, borderline going back to, like, a Cold War era.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we've got alien technology, well,
Yeah.
China and Russia, any other
Look, I just
enemy countries, whatever the fuck that even means. Like, I guess technically, no, I'm not gonna get that level. We'll keep it non-existential. Then, yeah.
yeah, we like getting into the metaphysical a lot, abstract.
Yeah, I feel like lately it's just been like flexing. That's what it seems like these UFO videos.
So what you're
like,
saying, it's like analogous to the arms race?
Yeah,
kinda
it's
that-
basically like, hey, we've got alien tech, we've got aliens, they're on our side, like, fuck with us, you're gonna die. Basically, Cold War.
You think
Like,
aliens
nuke us,
give a
we
shit?
nuke you with, like, an ion bomb or something like that.
Will
it-
aliens care?
And it's just, all this is just a bunch of senile old people who run the fucking world. You have people like Klaus Schwab of the Economic Forum. The guy just reminds me of, he's like Blofeld from 007. The guy is he's just your stereotypical Bond villain. And then you got, I don't know. It's like, there's a joke I saw online that I liked. It said, man, I love it that the 90s is coming back. It's like, I can't remember the products that they listed, but we have like all these 90s cartoons making a resurgence, and retro games from the 90s are a huge thing now. And it's like, and now the USSR.
Yeah.
Great, the 90s is back.
Yeah.
And history does repeat itself. And that's something that I'm going to go on another little tangent here. The more people try to forget what happened in history and not learn from it, we're destined to repeat it. And that's exactly what we're going to continue to do. because either A, people dwell on the past for wrong reasons to push their own, in my opinion, pretentious ideologies that they believe that they're owed something. I'm not going to get too deeply into that, but I think some people kind of know what I'm getting at, where they believe they're owed something for things committed in the past instead of realizing, like, hey, this stuff happened. We're not those people anymore. I mean, you don't see me going outside and clubbing a woman with a giant piece of timber and dragging her back into my cave to do snoo.
Melanie came here willingly.
Melanie was the one with the club
mean,
that dragged us
yeah.
into do snoo.
Okay, sorry. We came here willingly. Just don't mind the lump on the head.
Give you a nice head.
That is
That
a lump.
lump in your pants.
Definitely a lump. You might want to get that checked. Might want to get that lump checked.
It's definitely cancer.
So,
Check it with my 11th finger.
what are we going to cover in the podcast? And also, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to explain that there's going to be two facets to what we're going to do. We're going to have a podcast, which is going to be more linear, and that's kind of what we're doing right now, except right now it's kind of different, since this is kind of our introductory inaugural episode, so we're being a bit more free flow with this, just letting the conversation go where it wants to go. But podcasts are going to be predominantly more linear. We're going to pick a topic. We're either going to focus on that topic, or we're going to tie things into that topic, and we're just going to have a conversation generally about how this whatever we choose relates to us, or how it's pertinent to our life, things we might be interested in. We'll do probably investigative deep dives on things. Kind of, I wouldn't say it'd be quite documentary style, but we'll choose topics that might require more than one episode to explore. Like right now, we're working on a mental health deep dive, because I think mental health is something that is paramount and omnipresent in society, and it's still an aspect a lot of people don't take very seriously. Well,
We're also all very mentally ill.
yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of psychosis never
It's my
hurt
new
anybody.
personality.
I just make up personalities as I go. I just make a personality for whoever I'm talking to. Most time, I feel
Basically how I've gone through life.
basically I feel so uncomfortable in most social situations that I just adapt whatever personality I need to let that person do most of the talking, because I just prefer it that way. Because most conversations are so superficial in nature, in my opinion, and I do not like small talk. Do
Hey,
not ask
how's
me
the
how the
weather?
weather. Yeah, fuck off. It's just like when something doesn't scan at the checkout. Must be free. I heard that at least 3 times a day when I worked at Walmart. So when it comes to the podcast, what we plan on covering is interesting topics, thought-provoking topics. We'll probably cover some contemporary news that probably science-based. We're gonna, like I said earlier, we're gonna try to avoid from the aforementioned American news, because American news is just, no, it's gross. Deep dives, investigative pieces. I'd like to get to a point down the road where we're going to be doing some interviews. Find people that we find interesting, find people who are probably more knowledgeable on the topics that we are, and educate us, maybe even people we don't necessarily agree with. But that's something I'm aiming as like a stretch goal down the road. Possibly true crime topics, and basically whatever else may intrigue us. Is there anything you guys want to add to that?
I'm down with everything.
Yeah, I don't think I have any.
That's
I mean,
right, you
I mean, we-
Some
subservient.
American
We can
news.
literally
I think
go
I think some
anywhere.
American news would be interesting
Oh,
to
there's-
talk about, because boy, they are
There
Yeah.
will
they're
be.
nuts down
Yeah,
there.
I agree. There might be some American news that we'll get into, but I'm avoiding the whole political spectrum.
Yeah, I don't really care about their politics that much. I'm so sick of listening to them talk about it.
And I know Melanie doesn't really have a predilection for talking about Canadian politics either, because I was talking about, hey, we should do a podcast on the housing crisis. Melanie's like, no. Just no.
No, I mean, you can talk about it. It's just, I don't... As somebody who, like, in university took politics classes...
You did?
God, yeah, and I'm fucking sick about listening to politics. My life was so much better when I didn't pay attention to it.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I feel like we don't really have much of a choice now. Because it's getting to a point where some things regarding politics, I'd be like, yeah, it doesn't concern me, whatever. And which is kind of a... It's not really a healthy way to look at it, just to be willfully ignorant as to what's happening. But then when it starts to infringe on internet, the internet should remain politically secular and not have any type of political intervention at all, because the second you let a political power infiltrate the internet, they're not going to leave.
Nope.
Even with Pierre Poilievre making his promises that he's going to repeal Bill C-11 and C-18, we as a society allowed these politicians to exercise that power, and we did nothing about it. Not enough about it. And now they're in there, and they can do whatever they want with what we see, essentially. And people say, and to me, it's really close-minded to say, well, they're not going to do anything insidious with that. Why wouldn't they? That's
It's a government, of course they are.
to me, that's just being naive. I mean, it's like, that's just like saying, I'll let Casey Anthony babysit my child. I'm sure everything will go just fine. You got to have a bit of skepticism. A bit of healthy skepticism, a bit of healthy cynicism isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you guys think that would be interesting in covering for like back and forth discussion sort of thing?
All of my thoughts happen when they're happening, so you ain't gonna get anything out of me until the moment I have the thought.
Melanie
Let's just sit here and observe Melanie while
Let's
she...
just we'll get a camera and I'll just zoom in on your face and I'll just
You're-
leave it on your face for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
Let's
you're gonna
wait and see how long this
you're
thought
gonna wait
takes.
until my brain passes me a thought. Because nothing's happening until then.
It'll just be sitting there and the only thing Melanie will pass is gas.
Yeah, I will try not to. Hey, women don't do that.
Yeah, you're right. Women don't fart.
Yeah, I've never shit in
I
my
mean,
life.
my woman definitely doesn't like snore in my ear and fart
You're a
on my...
woman.
Well, she's not willingly. Moving on to the live stream. So the live streams is going to be a separate facet from the podcast. So when we live stream, it's going to be more non-linear, probably a bit more levity, more free form. We're going to cover things like we'll be playing board games. Melanie just got us into D&D, so we're probably going to start recording our D&D sessions, because I feel like that could elicit a lot of entertainment, because especially since we're all we're still greenhorns when it comes to D&D, so we'll probably do some of that. Mike's definitely interested in streaming games, so I might let... I'm not too interested in streaming games. I might let Mike take the reins on that. It depends on the game. Like Demonology and Phasmophobia, I'd stream that. But when I'm playing a game, I have immense difficulty conveying thoughts and speaking when I'm playing a game. So whenever we do game streams, I'll probably let Mike open up a separate channel. I'll allow him to do that, I guess, because I definitely assert dominance over Mike.
We'll keep it.
More ways than one.
You know, I have a question.
Then you
here.
raise your fucking hand. You raise your fucking hand if you want to
Hello,
question.
teacher.
Is there anybody else?
You're out here saying, Mike will start shooting. You literally have somebody in the room who did that.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, you're right. I did not even fathom for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, Melanie did do game streaming, and she's a lady, so she's immediately gonna get more people than Mike.
I'll show my tits on stream. I won't.
I'll show mine.
He will.
I'll show mine. We could just all show our tits.
My southern tits.
Yeah.
Can you know what we do is we say Melanie's going to
that's my
show.
bum.
We're going to say Melanie's going to show her tits, and then it's just going to be me and Mike showing our tits.
We could
Yeah, I don't do that for
wet
free.
T-shirt.
The old bait and switch.
Wet
I don't do
t-shirt.
that for free. That's gonna cost people money.
And I'm going to go on another tangent right now.
Car battery clamps.
I think this is
Also, hot tub streams.
yeah, exactly. What we could do, we could do streams where we put up a kiddie pool on our front lawn and do streams from our kiddie pool as we get devoured by mosquitoes and horseflies
in ASMR.
in ASMR as we're just sitting there, just in a kiddie
ASMR
pool,
ball
having
slaps
the-
against the side of
like
your face.
getting anemic from the amount of flies siphoning the blood out of our bodies.
Little microphones for each mosquito.
I've got a pond out in back of my house, and Jesus Christ, the mosquitoes during this time of year.
They are insatiable.
That'd be a loud ASMR video.
Just us going, ah, ah, ah.
Well, we got that.
I was at Mom's house the other day, and there was a hummingbird flying around the window, and I just call hummingbirds avian mosquitoes because they're just.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I love hummingbirds though. So yeah, live streams, nonlinear, board games. Board games is going to be another aspect of it because I want to try to step away from the zeitgeist that is video game streaming because I find it's kind of overdone. I'd like to experiment of what we can do with live streaming because I don't want to do something unless we can make it our own, make it transformative, make it interesting. I'm not going to completely dismiss that we're going to, we're not going to put any time into those into video game streaming because I think we will, but it's just right now for me personally it's not a priority. But Pixie Princess over there and Mike, they will probably take the reins on that.
We're gonna play Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Oh, hell yeah.
Also, when it comes to live streams,
What's that?
It's a game.
I'm sure I'll love it.
excuse me, can you not interrupt me? I'm the arbiter of this conversation, and I'm like really close to asking you guys to leave right now.
Give you some
Talk like you should be on Twitter.
Give you some arbitration.
What the fuck's that supposed to mean? Everybody always dissects how I speak.
You just
I
use
talk-
a lot of big words.
I talk at work, and I was talking to my manager at work one time, and he goes, "Can you not use words like that? I don't get them." I didn't even use a big word. I think I said predicated. That was the word I used, predicated. That's not a big word, and it was funny.
It sounds like
But
a big word.
I don't realize that I don't realize that I'm doing it because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's kind of the way they talk in the podcasts I listen to. So by proxy, I end up absorbing
It's just how
their
he is.
terminology, and that basically whoever I'm around,
Becoming
that's
one of them.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
So moving on to the future. So we do have a few things planned for the future down the road. We're trying to focus more on the present right now. But for down the road, we have things like more elaborate sketches. Mike's been coming up with a lot of good sketch ideas. But the problem with that right now is we need more equipment, and we're going to need the means to do so, like money. That's part of the reason why I had to put Plunder Blunder on hold. I actually have a third episode of Plunder Blunder filmed and mostly edited, but I didn't like it because we got too drunk when we were doing the unboxing, and I had to try to stitch together like 2 hours of drunken dialogue to form
Banter.
some narrative. Just banter that went nowhere. It was just, I don't know, we were talking at one part, and I had said something like, the only way Aaron can get off is if he's masturbating on a ward full of terminally ill children. And it was just like us going back and forth like that.
You know what? That could be the beauty of that episode, though.
Masturbating on dying children.
Well, that, but it could also just be like chaos.
And I had to basically take 2 hours of our drunken nonsense, condense it into about 5 minutes, because if not, the episode would have been way too long. So I had to find a way to truncate that section of us unboxing and explaining the Licky into a couple of minutes, and then us testing it on the animals, and I didn't care for the way it was going. So I think once we get to a point where we're able to kind of formulate a schedule of live streaming and stuff, because I'd like to do something at least every 2 weeks to set a goal that's not a goal that we can really, I guess, set in stone by any means.
Seems like a reasonable time to...
Every 2
get
weeks seems
things,
reasonable, because
yeah.
we need to pick a topic, we need to research the topic, at least I'm going to. Mike's a lot more freeform with the way he goes about things. I need to be kind of prepared, because if not, my brain just shuts down. Like even right now, I got notes written in front of me just in case I need them. But I'm hoping to step away from that eventually. But aside from more elaborate sketches, we have expanding into different genres. So we have ideas of trying out like different types of videos. Like there's different types of videos we have where we're talking about going exploring, doing UFO type stuff that Mike brought up, and
Hell yeah.
there's a few other ideas you had about these investigative hobbyist pieces. Did you want to go more detail on those?
Ooh, what kind of...
You brought up the UFOs, but I think there was other things that you had mentioned to me that I said were really good ideas.
Ghost hunting,
Ghost hunting, yes.
crypto...
Cryptids.
cryptids?
What are cryptids?
We could go crypto. We could just
That's what I was gonna say.
browse Wealthsimple.
Like
Look-
that, we can go out there and we can get some of that Dogecoin
find some
there.
Dogecoin,
Get
yeah.
the Dogecoin there, and
That
maybe get
Bitcoin?
the Bud Light coin there. That kind of tanked
Light
after
coin.
they put that lady man on there. I guess that's not good no more. The Bud Light there.
That's something
we
I
could-
would like. I would love to do a deep dive into cryptids.
Yeah, we could dip
Okay,
into like myths.
I
and stuff
actually
like that,
don't
too. Like,
know what cryptids means.
be like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
oh,
Or like if
Bigfoot
there's like
okay.
monsters in the woods.
They're categorized as cryptids.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like monster myths that may or may not
Like
exist.
Mothman, the Jersey Devil,
The Squonk.
Blair Witch.
So basically, that's a really good idea, because we're based in Nova Scotia, and there's some locations around here that are quite infamous, I guess. There's Murder Island out in the Tuscan Islands, which is allegedly extremely haunted. Which
What?
we have a boat. My brother has a boat. A boat. I can't believe I even a boat. I can't believe I accidentally said it like that. So the accent I just did is an accent local to this area that most people wouldn't get.
But they talk like this.
That's what
Is
the
that
French,
how-
the Frenchman.
It's Fringlish because they put a lot of the English words mixed in there with their sentences there.
It's a real accent. I have relatives that speak like that.
It is. It's local to this area. It's Acadian French. But yeah, there's a location in the Tuscan Islands called Murder Island, and allegedly it's very haunted. Ooh. And we could spend a night there investigating that activity. Now, in regards to ghosts, I'm skeptical. Mike and Melanie are more open to those ideas than I am. But that stuff we'll get more into.
Bitch, I lived through those ideas.
Yeah, which I always found it was kind of interesting that you were the one that proposed that idea initially, because you're someone who's always predicated your beliefs primarily on logic. You've always been like a very logic-based person. So when you say there's ghosts, I'm more apt to believe it, but I want to experience it. I'm very agnostic on the idea.
Meanwhile,
Believes
there's
it
just
because he's a
something
man.
wrong up here.
Mike's
see
just like
shit.
James McAvoy in Split. And... What are you gonna say, Melanie?
You only
Don't
believe him
care.
because you only believe him because he's a man. So
How
honestly,
dare- how
your
dare
input
you
was
assume?
your input was very accurate.
We also, I want to add this in as a bit of an addendum right now before we move on down the list. But we do have other people that we plan on rotating out, because a big issue which stifled production, was there was only Aaron and I that were working on these things at the time. So now I have Mike and I are partnered up for it. Melanie's also come on, and she's going to help us out. Melanie's the artist. Mike's the idea maker. And also, he helps keep me a bit more in line because
Rein him in.
because my ideas tend to get too carried away, and I'm a perfectionist. Like, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even be recording this right now because I've been like, well, I need to finish the back wall. The back wall doesn't... And this was my thought process. I'm like, I can't record till the back wall's done. I need to put more decor in here. And Mike's like, fuck it, we'll get a towel, we'll go sit in a bathtub
It's like,
somewhere.
but
It's like,
I'm here, let's start recording.
so he kind of keeps me grounded more in reality. My brother's also probably going to take part in some of this. He's really good when it comes to camera work and stuff. So when we start recording our actual sketches and when we do the ghost adventuring thing, my brother will probably be along for that.
I just had another idea.
What's that?
If he's good with camera work, we should do like a skit where like the cameraman never dies. But reversed. So the cameraman's the only one that dies.
And the camera's just there the whole time. Yeah, write this stuff down. Like we this is what happens. Ideas are just constantly effusing out of our brains, and we need to find a way to exercise that. Because my creative wise, I'm kind of going through a drought lately because I'm like every type of creative endeavor I've tried to launch in the last since 2013, so 10 years. Even maybe slightly before, I mean, since 2012, I've tried numerous times to get short films off the ground. I've tried to get different types of videos off the ground, but I've kind of realized that I don't have the capabilities to carry those things on my own because as introverted as I am, when it comes to this stuff, I need energy. I need people who kind of match the same energy that I can bounce ideas off of, because if not, well, you're going to sit here and you're going to stare at this stoic-faced idiot all night who can't really say anything. And the only reason why I can even talk fluently right now is because A, I just chugged some ADHD medication, and B, they match the energy. Don't do drugs. Shit. I gotta stop doing that. People are gonna tune out because I keep hitting my big, dumb, vacant fucking head off the mic arm. Well, what are you gonna say, Mike?
I said ADHD drugs are bad.
Which is, honestly, that's a conversation that we're gonna get into some point. That's a conversation we're gonna get into at some point. Is the abundance of antidepressants and ADHD medication that just gets flooded into people's systems. But I'll save that conversation for another day. I usually don't take it, but I kind of just did today to help me focus on what I was doing, because that's so much shit to do today, and that can kind of cause my brain to get a little flustered because I set up all the cameras, make sure the software works, which I'm really hoping this is streaming right now, because if it's not, I'm going to break something. But anyway,
I have an idea.
I don't care.
Oh. After this,
I love you.
After this,
You're my
I don't
buddy.
know if you're gonna. I don't think Ryan's gonna be around anymore. So somebody keeps trying to push Ativan on me, and I want to know what the difference is between me now and me with Ativan in my system.
Ativan is a bit different. Ativan, it can be addictive, but it's not. Ativan's not something you take every day. Ativan is there to prevent panic attacks, or if you're getting really anxious, it's to help calm you down.
The way that it's been described to me, I feel like I would be a very different person.
Maybe for a few hours, it might help you kind of feel what it's like to have some psychological homeostasis for a few minutes or a few hours. What?
I've never had that in my life.
Yeah, me neither. Honestly, Yes, Mike.
I just had another skit idea. So instead of like a van trying to like lure kids in with candy, it's just like a van with like Nova Scotia Health on the side of it, trying to lure in adults with like ADHD medication. Like we could call it Ativan on the side.
At a
A van.
My God.
And it's like it would just
genius.
drive down with like ding 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 ding, like just like ice cream music, And like all the adults would run out and be like, "Oh,
You have a whole bunch of university students come pouring out of the building, and
And it's like, "Hey, adults, like, come on, get in the van.
Hello,
Like,
fellow adult.
I got some drugs in here."
Hello, fellow mentally ills.
And then like there'd be like a little thing at the end where it's like missing posters. It's like, have you seen this adult?
see, these are the type of ideas that I would love to greenlight, but we need to get to a point where we can do stuff like that. Which you should write. You got your phone on you?
Oh, but it's all.
You're not gonna remember that.
Hey, man.
You're not
I
gonna
remember the
shit.
disclaimer idea. The pedophile. Come on, we have to do that
The
episode.
one idea.
I mean, I've
It's a foot
like
file. It's a foot file called the pedophile.
I've got. We're still talking about the future, right? Yeah, elaborate
yeah.
sketches, spanning different genres. I have an idea for a short film, like a horror short film, because I have immense reverence for horror movies. I mean, but I had one idea that popped into my head one day. So I have a very long driveway, for those who don't know, and in the wintertime, I park the car at the end of the driveway because I don't want to get stuck in the snow. So when I'm walking down, there was one night where my phone was dead. So, by the way, this is trademarked. If anyone copies this, sue you. I'll sue you. And I was walking away, and my phone was dead. I couldn't see shit. So I'm walking, and I'm pressing the lock button on my keys constantly so I could see. So I thought, what if there was this road, and the car just died? It killed my cell phone battery. And so I'm walking down I get frustrated, I get out of the car, and I'm walking down the road, and I keep hitting the button on the keys to lock the doors to make the lights illuminate. But every time I do that, there's like this insidious presence behind me that appears every time the lights flash. And it keeps doing that and getting closer, almost like the weeping angels in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be like a 5-minute short film, but then I think there's one called Lights Out, which I find is kind of analogous to Lights Out, where at the end, I kind of start to think something's happening, and I'll beep it one more time, and that's when it will illuminate the thing's face, and then it just grabs the character and just splits his head in half, and it ends. And I was like, because that's a time, I felt very vulnerable when you're walking down in the pitch black like that, no phone, it's pitch black, and you have to keep, your car is your only source of light that you have to keep locking. So yeah, that's a random short film idea that I had. I've got another sketch where it's about a guy who has this... It's when you're laying in bed at night and your head won't shut the hell up. But I've personified that into a character and the guy's like in this argument with himself about... I can't remember what it is. Just, did you lock the door? Did you pee? Did you check the stove? And it's like all this stuff. And I wrote a sketch about that I completely forgot about until now. A whole bunch of character-based sketches that I have. It's like
That was me last night. I'm like, did I shut the garage door? Wait, did I shut my trunk? Wait, it's raining. Do I need to go down and check these things? No, I'm pretty sure I've shut them. But what if I didn't?
but
like
what if there's that off
internal
chance
debate,
you
yeah.
didn't?
Yeah. And then through all that, I'm just like, man, I need piss.
I need to take pee-pee. Big old pee-pee. Big old sit piss.
Big old sit piss. It's a quiet piss.
You know what? Men can insult other men for sitting when they're peeing as a way to like shame you. But you know, when you stand up and piss, unless you throw toilet paper in there first, piss is splashing out. So it's
splashback.
sometimes it's okay to sit when you pee. I wish I had a urinal in my house, so I suppose the shower is my urinal.
Especially when you poop.
Yeah, see?
If you gotta pee while you poop, make sure you're sitting down.
See,
Otherwise,
what I
you get
do
poop on the floor.
is I just take one of those mega clips people put on their chips and I pinch my foreskin off when I'm shitting so I don't emasculate myself by
balloon it.
sit peeing.
Just balloon it.
And then when I take it off, it's just like...
My bad.
Yeah, can you not cause collateral damage
That
and punch my microphone?
That was
Lead
something
your
that was
ears.
surprising to me when I'll do a random poll, and I'll just be like, have you ever done this? And then I'll just ask a bunch of my friends about it.
Oh,
And the
poll.
one, yeah,
It's
poll.
like, where are we going with this?
Okay,
Like,
and
are you
so
pulling
the one
turn
that I was
back?
surprised about was, do you sit when you pee? And most people said yes. I only asked men because...
1, you can look at your phone. 2, you're not getting the shrapnel. And, it's happened before, and,
I think one person said no.
I'm going to get a little candid
And I was
right
like,
now.
yeah, I expected that from you, I think.
A little candid right now, but one thing that's annoying too about standing is that when you pull your waistband down, it presses on a certain part of your body, your anatomy sometimes, and you think you're done peeing, and then you'll reholster it,
Your balls.
and then it just drips down your leg.
Reholster.
That's happened at work before, and I'm like, oh god.
Got some leakage.
Got a little bit of an oil spill down the old pants.
You just walk around smelling like pee piss all day.
Well, you work in a hospital, so...
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, you don't work in a hospital. You attend a mental clinic.
That's right.
Can I be your patient?
Sure can.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Check my cavities.
Excuse me?
Do you want to check my cavities?
Do I?
Both teeth and...
I'll fill your cavities.
Hell yeah.
I'm a butt dentist.
Wait, does butt dentist imply that there's a guy and he sees people who have those calcium deposits but they're growing in their butthole?
Very well could be, except they're cum stalagmites.
Oh no. Wait. Which is stalagmite the one that drops down from the top?
Yeah. Well, both.
Or is
Yeah,
it
they're like rock.
stalactite?
They're like
They're just
rock
like-
There's
icicles.
two.
Rock icicles.
I know what they are. There's stalagmites and there's stalactites. The difference is one comes down from the roof and the other one grows up from the ground.
You're gonna be in the ground.
I feel like
I want that. Thank you.
I think stalactite comes from the roof.
I can never
Stalactite.
remember.
But I mean,
But yeah, you're going to need to
I've got a
figure that out
50-50.
if you're going to be a butt doctor.
we got a 50-50 chance on being right.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
need
be
to
a-
figure that out.
I'm gonna be a poo miner.
Digging for gold.
Brown gold.
Found a nugget.
Texas tea.
Found myself a shit nugget.
Golly gee!
Yeah!
We're rich, boys!
I struck oil.
Oh, look, got some on my here shaft. Let me take that there paint scraper and scrape off these here poop dust nuggets.
Oh, God.
Yuck.
All right, for anybody who's still there. So what we're working on right now. So we have a couple ideas. I'd like to take credit for them, but I can't because they're Mike's ideas. We're working on the ghost hunting sketch. Right. Well, not working on it actively, but it's going to be. We're going to start investigating paranormal activities. I got to buy some equipment, but we're hoping to do that by October is the goal I'm setting myself. But we're going to go stay at a haunted location for a weekend to try to abolish my currently held beliefs that ghosts may not exist, but I hope to be proven wrong. Mike's like organizing the locations and all that. I'm trying to figure out equipment. Melanie's just
I just get to be there.
you just get to be there
My favorite. Doing
because
nothing.
we got to have the one lady,
Yeah.
of course.
I'm a diversity hire.
We're just filling a quota right now. That's all this is.
It's going to be all over for you guys when I come out that I'm a man.
I hope so. I've always kind of presumed that if there's anyone who had like a huge penis in this group, it'd be Melanie.
That one time I put a strap-on on, it was pretty big. So,
You put
I
a strap on?
Yeah.
Strap on.
When we transition, you can have my foreskin.
Thank you.
You can have mine too, and you can
Also,
you can staple them together.
On another
Oh my God,
note,
you
there
just,
is
like, add our
nothing.
penises together.
There is nothing that made me feel more powerful in a moment than just wearing a large penis.
You know what? Actually, I think would be a good documentary series to follow Melanie as she goes through like MMA training. That'd be kind of cool.
You do remember that I'm a cripple, right?
Yeah, and it'd be so funny.
Okay.
Melody's first opponent, Ricky Berwick. I'll organize that.
You
We'll have
say that
pay-per-views
shit,
and
but like
everything.
I'm confident that if I had to fucking fight somebody, like I think I could take you out, no
But
problem.
are you serious?
Yeah,
You would not do shit.
We got our first episode?
So I have a delusion that I live in.
Yeah, you are a fucking delusion.
Yeah, no, I'm aware. I'm aware that I live in a delusion that if I needed to get in a fight that I would be perfectly fine.
Like,
I also have the delusion that I won't die until I
but
want to.
I suppose, if you go in with the idea, the belief that you're going to win, I mean, that's the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the start to
I think
building
they call
confidence.
that overconfidence.
They might,
But
as long as she's
it
not,
is a good
as long as she's not cocky about it.
Yeah.
But
You've met me.
I think it would. But the thing is, if your life was more copacetic, in order, you'd be able to. You looked at me really puzzled when I said copacetic.
I don't know why I looked at you like that, because I know what that means.
Okay. So yeah, if your life was more copacetic, I feel like you'd be able to get yourself into a state where you wouldn't feel like you're a cripple. I mean, you feel like you're a cripple because you are.
Yeah.
But I feel like you'd be able
There's
to
no
work
way
on that.
around
You'd
it.
get to a point where I feel like you would be more apt and able. So I think it'd be really cool to see you like learn MMA and then go from there. I don't know.
I would love to do that.
Just an idea. Just popped in my head.
That just plays into my whole
'Cause
thing where I want to be strong.
Melanie wants to hurt people
Yeah,
physically.
I want men to be afraid of me.
Joke's on you.
I mean, like, looking at me, you're not going to be afraid of me, and that's kind of the point. But then, like, you do dumb shit, and I just rip your arms off.
She just grabs your dick and just twists it like a locked doorknob.
Why won't it open?
Yeah, so I said ghost hunting, right? That's how we got off on that tangent. Then he came up, there's another idea that we're going to do. So we have a friend who is, let me just switch the camera here. We have a friend who is a chef, and Mike came up with the idea that let's do Mimic Chef, where our friend Brandon will prepare a meal. We won't know how he's going to prepare it, because Mike and I can't even really cook toast. And, well, you're probably a better cook than I
can
am.
cook.
I use a crock pot. That's the only way I'm going to cook anything.
I'm immediately
Stop!
I feel like I've got a good shot, but it's going to be a challenge.
I'm immediately disqualified because I'm pretty sure I can cook better than both of you.
Why don't you?
What
Well, I was gonna cook for you, but now you're a bitch, so I don't think so.
Oh, so I just became a bitch.
Yeah, just now.
I thought this was something that's kind of been like an evolution over time.
You'll see.
But yeah, he came with the idea of Mimic Chef. Did you want to explain that?
Basically, we have someone prepare a meal, and meanwhile, while they're preparing the meal, like they show the step-by-step process. They cook the meal. They have it presented to us. We're not in the same room, so we have no idea of what's being presented to us. Once it comes out, we can either gauge it up as like a visual and sensory kind of observation, or just sensory. So we like can't see what's actually being presented, but we can smell it, we can guess what it is, which that seems a little too advanced. So it's probably going to be like we're able to see it, look at it, maybe even taste it, start off. And then we get tasked with trying to replicate it. Out of like,
Can I be
say
a
a
judge?
couple bites.
Yeah,
Can I be a taste judge?
We're gonna need
Yeah.
judges. And actually, when you said judge, that just kind of reminded me of there was an episode of Plunder Blunder. I still want to return to Plunder Blunder at some point. I don't know when, because that's going to take a larger investment. Because not only do I want more equipment, I want to be able to make more sketches. Because Plunder Blunder is a smorgasbord of genres. There's the unboxing part, then there's like the parts where we test it out, and then I like to do sketches with those items like I did in the first episode. But then there's like the actual cost of the items. I do want to return to that concept at some point, because that idea was what was kind of the catalyst to make me create a YouTube channel in the first place. So down the road, we'll probably return to that. But these ideas are more prudent, and they're more palatable for what we're currently working with. Because I've already spent like a lot of money getting this podcast set up, and that's kind of what I want to focus on at the moment, because it's more doable with our current schedules, and it's more. It just works out better for us right now, and it'll, like I said earlier, it'll provide us that drive to push us to continue to make more creative content, because the hardest part's always getting started.
Yeah, getting everyone together.
And even today, like Aaron was supposed to be here, but he had to cancel, and so Melanie filled in great.
What
We
can I
love you,
say except
Melanie.
you're welcome?
What can I say except you're welcome? Actually, thank you. That just reminded me. That's something else that we're going to branch out into. I knew I was forgetting something when I was talking about branching into different genres earlier, is that Mike's also a musician. So I'd
Are
like...
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a musician,
I just-
but
I
I
never
dabble with
really-
the musics.
Never
I like
really,
singing.
I never really thought about that.
Music writing, lyrics.
And that's something that I was kind of planning on getting him and Zoe to collaborate on. And I've got a drum set. We've got all the instruments. We've got FL Studio. We've got all the micro. Like, we have all the equipment. It's just a matter of we need to find the impetus.
Let's get fucked up and create music.
That's what we used to do. There's actually we would go on Discord and we'd live stream it in Discord sometimes. Righteous Moose, that was our band name, and we had somebody who would do like just improv to what, like I would play a beat on the drums. Zoe would start playing with the guitar to match what I was doing, and then they would just start singing, and it was so funny. And it was some of the most fun I've ever had. And if we could somehow reincarnate that concept, that would be a fucking blast. But not enough space, because this is where the drums were. The drums were where Melanie was sitting, and you know what a downgrade. I replaced drums with Melanie.
I'm not gonna send this to my mom.
Why?
She's gonna hate you.
Why would she hate me?
Because you're a misogynist.
I'm not a misogynist at all, just towards you.
God, you're like a Nazi.
Get out. I hope that Chucky doll comes alive and stabs you in the trachea.
Me too.
Me too. Ooh, wee.
Send them to me after.
Do you want to share?
There's there's the deep dive into mental health that we've also started. The deep dives are definitely going to be something we're not going to be able to do those often, because one topic can basically transcend multiple episodes in months. So basically what we have planned out for the deep dive into mental health is basically we're going to start at the beginning of recorded history and explore mental health throughout the ages and juxtapose it with modern society to kind of see where this came from, how people's perspectives on it, how it's changed over time, and kind of where we're at now, and if we've even really made much progress.
At what point did it all go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Because I always hear the common fallacy that
Mental health didn't exist in my day. You people, we
It
didn't
existed, Grandpa.
we didn't have this anxiety back in my day.
Beat the problems out of us.
Yeah, the only difference is your dad beat you.
yeah, it's like
All those people there, they acting out there like that. We just beat the shit out of them, and everybody was just fine.
Yeah, that was the mental health.
Yeah.
It was there. You just beat people.
yep, way to go to continue and continue the constant spread of traumas. And actually, I was listening to an audiobook yesterday, and it was talking about generational trauma, which I found very interesting. And that's I'm going to continue listening to that audiobook. And I agree. A lot of the stuff they're saying in the audiobook is actually stuff that I've already believed personally. But
So like trauma passed down through family.
yeah, basically
Kinda
it's like
each generation like tells a story or kind of.
regarding like natives and stuff, why natives
Okay.
like native people experiencing generational trauma because the stuff that they experienced was passed down throughout the generations.
It's like genetically infused.
Basically,
into your
like
DNA.
they're being raised and having these traumas regurgitated
Yeah,
to them
yeah.
through
Oh,
what
okay.
their families experienced, and then they're kind of having their place in society. Well, in my opinion, their place that they used to be in society being reinforced, and it's just basically what's happening. It's continuing this trauma that's transcending the generations, and it's just not going to end. But I believe I didn't explain that very well because I just started listening to that chapter yesterday, and I'm not very far. I've only listened to the first chapter of the book, but it's getting quite interesting.
I think I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I typically stuff like that.
Yeah.
I kind of have to script it out a bit more, else I'm going to trip over my thoughts and have like actual statistics and stuff in front of me because I don't do good at remembering numbers and that. So yeah, we're working on that deep dive into mental health, which I'm not going to put a date on it yet because I want to get more comfortable with this back and forth that we're having right now, which is actually going smoother than I expected.
Get used to this first. Though.
Yeah, because none of us have acclimated to being in front of a camera.
We're noobs.
Yeah, we're
Well.
very much newbies, but
Well, I'm a noob.
I'm not.
I'm
Just wax on, wax off. Teach us.
I'm
we're come on. We're gonna be your grasshoppers.
Can I
No.
step on you?
I mean, if you want.
that's all
I mean, you wouldn't be the first person to step all over me.
oh, let's walk all over Mike
Yeah,
like the subservient
Yeah,
bitch he is.
Put a gag ball in my mouth and tell
Oh no, we want to hear you scream.
I do have
Oh, okay.
experience sitting in front of a camera. So,
Yeah, out of all of us,
And speaking.
technically Melanie's the most qualified out of all
Yeah,
of us,
somehow.
and that's horrifying.
yeah, I shouldn't be qualified to do fucking anything, but here we are.
But yeah, she's very. Do you wanna plug your Twitch channel?
No, because I haven't used it in a long time.
Good, because I wasn't gonna let you anyway.
That's good. I used to stream on Twitch, and I did it as just a hobby, but I kind of grew a little bit disinterested in it, and then I'll go back to it every now and again. But I mean, I don't have my computer with me.
There is a,
So.
what you just said reminded me of something, and that's a topic I kind of want to delve into maybe sooner than later, and that's the concept of mental health in regards to Twitch streamers and that, and keep that separate maybe from the deep dive into mental health because that's more of an investigative piece. So this is kind of more of like conjecture and anecdotal piece or discussion where we'll talk about when people say, "Oh, you're just a Twitch streamer," for example. I'm just using this as an example to kind of express my idea that I have, but we'll say, "Oh, well, you only stream on Twitch," or what have you, but people don't realize how mentally taxing it is to remain entertaining over periods of like 8 hours or more in some cases.
You kind of like brought up a thing that I kind of forgot about until now. So I also did Twitch streams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was like I wasn't on video,
Yeah.
but I have like I think the most I've ever had kind of watching me was like 300 at one point doing Payday. But I'd set up like a. Have I ever told you this?
No.
My Payday streams.
No, but go on.
So I basically had like people lined up to join me on the streams, and then we do like just things that you wouldn't assume people would do in Payday. So for the Shadow Raid, are you aware of the Shadow Raid mission?
Yes, it's been a long time since I played it. but
Basically,
yes.
you can't. If you get seen, you've got 15 seconds. Mission ends. You have to sell the whole thing. So I got so good at this mission that I eventually brought people in to teach them the mission, Which then got me thinking, like, oh man, how awesome would it be if I just, instead of doing the mission, we just have like a time trial race?
Mm-hmm.
So like you'd have to get around, do a certain like checkpoints and stuff like that in a specific amount of time. Whoever gets the fastest time gets to do a raid, like a bank heist or something with me, or gets to join in for a couple episodes or whatnot. I think this is like 10 years ago. It would have been before college. So that would be like 2013. So yeah, probably 10, 11 years ago. And it didn't really go too far, but going to the mental health part of it, I actually felt like it was like, it brought out like a nihilistic, existentialistic thought in me, like, why the fuck am I doing this? What's the point of doing this? It feels like I'm working now. Like these people expect certain things of me, and it's just like, I eventually just fell out. And I think it was like drastically just fell off the radar.
Yeah.
Like I was just like having like all these ideas and being like, oh yeah, blah, 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 and then the next day it's like, gone.
Yeah, you see, I want to try to, a big goal of mine in regards to what we're doing with this channel right now is I want to keep it very eclectic. I don't want to adhere to one format because that is a sure way to burn out, and I feel like that's the kind of thing that YouTube has lost, is the creative flow. It's not creative anymore. It becomes a fucking job, and people predicate their channels on the sole purpose of financial gain, and to me it's just killed the creativity you used to see on YouTube. And see, I'm not in this for the money, so I don't really give a fuck what happens. I'm just doing this for my own personal goal and to work on my deficit of being able to speak publicly and articulate myself properly. It's something that I've been pretty terrible at forever, for the most part.
I'm pretty sure if you go onto my Twitch channel, it's still set up for that payday shit.
Really?
Like I'm pretty sure I've got like Pam for Prez, like that was a thing. There's like one.
I want to take a look.
There's like one NPC in like
him.
all the heists, or it seemed like she was always just there, and always foiling my plans.
Did you just call her Pam?
Yeah.
Do you have a-
And her name was Pam.
Oh.
So like I just gave her the name
You're
as
telling
Pam.
me you
like,
have a nemesis?
just looked like a Pam. Like if you ever watched like Archer, like that's the Pam. Yeah. So it was kind of like, and I'm pretty sure there was just a giant billboard of the same NPC above the bank. So I'm just like, I took that billboard and put like Pam for Prez, and it
What
just
was your
became a
name?
thing. Mike Way 7.
Milky Way.
Milky. Oh my gosh, I created a new D&D character. Sherlock Gnomes.
Sherlock Gnomes. I wrote... So, currently in our... Just going to go on another tangent for a second. Currently in our D&D campaign, I'm playing as a character who is a private investigator that is searching for his other personalities, but he doesn't realize that. And every time he finds out, he's searching for his other... he believes he's searching for his kin, but every time he finds out he's actually just looking for his other personality, he has a mental complex and creates another personality. So his name is Lintington Von Elderdick, and I think I'm up to Lintington Von Elderdick
7 or
the
8?
8th,
Yeah.
I think I'm at the 8th, and he's like I can't remember what personality it is. I had to start writing them down, but there's like a Scottish one. There's a...
Classic British one, Lintington Von Elderdick III.
That's who I started off as, looking for Lintington Von Elderdick 1 and 2, and 1 is just your stereotypical, just basic old Brits, you know, just polite and kind of posh. And then, then it just every time Mike's wizard, his sorcerer with no
Trying to
magic
fix
spells.
them.
His wizard that can only cast party tricks, basically.
Yeah.
He's basically a magician that you would find at like your kid's party.
And I'll do it with magic! Doesn't know any magic.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, he keeps pointing out that I'm looking for myself, and that triggers another mental breakdown, and now I keep... My personalities just keep proliferating, and then I get into these debates. Yeah, it's
My side quest is to fix him.
it's our first D&D campaign we've ever done, and it's just a
I
fucking
can
mess.
fix him.
I can fix you.
I can fix him.
Yes, it's every
Leave
toxic
him,
relationship
leave him Milky
ever.
Way. He's not worth. But I can fix him.
I can do it. I can fix him. I'll be the one. I'll be the one to bring them
Eventually,
together.
I'll find a personality that I like.
Oh my god, that's bad.
God, I'm gonna set up a quest so you guys can romance each other.
We're also working on. Aaron is going to be our. What did I call him? He's in charge of our exotic foods that we're gonna eat on stream. So we'll find some weird shit on the internet that we plan on ordering, and we're gonna try it. Like, I know he had the Death Nut Challenge one time. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. There's another time he bought this super spicy chocolate. Then of course we did the Plunder Blunder Lester's Fixins. He just seems to have this innate ability to find just the most rancid shit on the internet to put in your body. I mean, I can't say how much better I did do that Panty Deal episode, and my god, that made me so uncomfortable. But I wanted to see exactly, like, that was also a challenge to myself to see how far outside of my norm I could step, because I would never typically do something like that. So I'm like, what is the opposite of me? And that's what I'm going to do. And that's basically why that one turned out so fucking vulgar and pretty disgusting. If I could go back and re-record it, I would. There's always stuff that I'd change because it was more or less like a experimental thing at first. But yeah, so we were talking about music. We're going to go back to you to have some musical proclivities, and so does Zoe. So we'd like to do something with music at some point. And this is probably going to incorporate like launching different channels and stuff, because I don't think we can just chuck it all on one channel, because that's a sure way to confuse an audience. So what we'll probably do is have sister channels, I imagine.
Hey, sisters.
Hey, sisters.
Call them the Scissor Sisters.
Scissor sisters. But let's see here. Yeah, and that's pretty much all the ideas that we've kind of formulated lately, and things that we aspire to do in the near future. But right now, like I said, the expanding on our podcast and just kind of getting ourselves more acclimated to being in front of a camera and speaking, because none of us are really good at speaking in a public format, especially in front of a camera.
We should do like a Q&A at some point too.
That's something I do have planned.
Yeah.
Once we actually get, I don't know,
Shoot the shit with whoever's watching.
just whoever's watching. I'd like this to be, especially the live streams, to be a very community-based thing. Like, I have ideas for trivia games and stuff where if we get a question wrong, people in the comments would vote on the punishment the person has to incur for getting the question wrong. Things like that. So many ideas, and hopefully we'll be able to bring those to you at some point in the near future. But the next thing that we do plan on working on that's going to be video based outside of the podcast is going to be the ghost hunting one. That's something I can set in stone. That's the next thing that we're going to be doing, for sure. And what makes it easier is it's non-scripted. Non-scripted is definitely the preferred method right now, because I was spending so much very limited time writing scripts and never going anywheres with them, because I didn't have the time, like I said, and B, just a plethora of issues that so I basically just ended up kind of becoming disenfranchised with writing scripts for sketches, because they just weren't going anywhere. So I kind of want to avoid that and just take less stress off the plate and less pressure, non-linear content, and then eventually excel back to the sketches and stuff when we're ready.
Figure out what brings people in.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Chloroform, duct tape, handcuffs.
A lot of persuasion.
Anything you want to add, Melanie?
No.
Don't care. I'm just kidding.
Eventually, people are gonna be like, "God, Ryan's such an asshole."
You people have no idea how she treats me off camera.
We can't talk to each other like normal people.
Yeah.
We can only degrade.
I'm pretty sure she said something like the worst experience in her life was meeting me.
Yeah.
And every time she thinks of me, she feels utterly disgusting.
You would think, like, the way that we talk to each other on a daily basis, you would think that we hated each other.
But we don't. I mean,
I love hanging out with Ryan.
it's just sometimes she's just a rancid whore.
Yeah, well,
And I gotta put up with that.
you get what you deserve, don't you?
Yeah, can you close your legs, please? That's wafting over here.
I showered today, thank you.
You're bellowing that land ground trout smell.
You're really talking about it like it doesn't make money, more money than you do.
Yeah, it's called envy. All right, everybody. Thank you for those who stuck around, and hopefully we'll be coming back at you soon. Au revoir.
Bye.
Say bye, Melanie.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.